Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen and I am here with March's Iron Crafters Challenge, and I'm combining it with 30 Days of Sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life. Day 31, our special extra sketch, and this one is by Sarah's Pretty Papers, and it is a 2-pager, and I have all the little 2x2 pictures to fill all the happy little spaces. If you're hungry at this moment in time, this is not the time to watch this video. Just a warning. We are going to be documenting our traditional every year cookie day. And so for Iron Crafters Challenge, we're using ribbon. And so I have that. It's ribbon and trim, but I'm using some ribbons. So I've got my papers, my embellishments, my ribbons for the Iron Crafters Challenge, and I'm going to bring in some mixed media. So I've got my pictures and the sketches. So let's see how this goes. So I am using the Christmas Cheer by Cartabella. And so this is thicker paper. It's got like a little bit of grit to it. And I decided that I would use this red wordy bit paper, and I'm going to use that as my background on each of the clusters of pictures. And so I cut the back part into 2.5 inches, and I originally just cut it in 2.5 and leave it at 12 inches, and I'm going to trim them down. And then I take this gingerbread paper and I make that 2.25 inches, except for one of them that's going to end up being the smaller one. I make that also 2.5 and cut this red plaid paper into a 2.25. So this is the general idea of what we're going for. And so then I'm going to get my pictures out. I'm not sure what I'm doing right now. So I got all my pictures out, and I do have the 15 pictures that are on the sketch as well. These are all from Cookie Day 2016. Ever since 2009, my family, well, we've always done sugar cookies, but in 2009 we started making more recipes. 2010 we started a family tradition where we would make my grandmother's old recipes after, that was the year after she passed away. And so now it's turned into a big all-day, sometimes 2-day event. We buy hundreds of dollars worth of ingredients and all the things. More currently, I have a picture of all the ingredients beforehand and then the table of goodies after. And oh my gosh, it's just crazy. But it's so fun, and it's probably one of my absolute favorite parts. Anywho, so I have grabbed some mixed media, and I'm using my Distress Oxide and Walnut Stain. And I'm just going to do a diagonal from the top left to the bottom right. And originally I thought I'd do top left, bottom right on the left side, and then bottom left, top right on the right. But the sketch actually has the cluster of stars going from the top left to the bottom right on both layouts, so I stuck with that. It does get covered up quite a bit on the right layout since there's going to be 3 rows of papers or of picture strips, but I'm okay with that. There's little peeking out of that brown, and I chose to use the brown because I'm using this a lot of the gingerbread embellishments and tags, so I thought it would help bring a little of that out, because I didn't want to do red and green, because that's what I'm going to be mostly decorating with, is the red and green, but there are little brown and bits and pieces. So off camera, I have taken a 1/2 inch strip of the green plaid paper and put a strip at the top of both and the bottom of both. And then I have the 4x6 cut a part that says recipe, and it had like lines on it and everything. I cut it in half so that I could put a journaling spot on both sides where the sketch has the journaling spots. Actually, on the right layout, I end up putting the journaling spot on the top strip and not the bottom, which is fine. And so I'm gonna exchange that out because I think it would have looked weird to have that white edge hanging out if I had put it down on the bottom. So I love these little cut aparts I use. One says Making Spirits Bright, and the other one says Have a Merry Christmas, but it's got a rolling pin and the cookie on there. Now, we don't make gingerbread, at least in 2016, I don't think we were making gingerbread cookies. My brother-in-law does make ginger snaps now and has for the last, I don't know, probably 4 years, maybe 5. And so it's, more along the lines of something that we do now, but we do sugar cookies in gingerbread form, and of course all the other trees, stars, all those things as well. And so on the left side, the top 3 pictures are the baking process. And so I've got like a picture of my mom and my sister, my daughter, my niece and my sister, and then my son, and they're all rolling out cookies and like doing the prep work. The bottom 3 on that side have the kids, there's a little picture with my nephew, but it's mostly my niece, my daughter, and my son, and they are icing the sugar cookies. And then all the goodies on the right side are the pictures of the yummies that we made, and so that is how I decided to lay them all out. So it's kind of telling the story, preparing, decorating, and then what it all turned into. So I have laid the ribbon down. Now I have not attached it yet, but I've put the ribbon down in the general idea of where I want it, and then I tape it down with double-sided tape off camera. And I did attach this little strip that was part of a cut apart that says Made with Sugar, Spice, and Lots of Christmas Magic. And I put that down here on the bottom left bit. Now that's not in the sketch, but at this point I'm going to start embellishing. And of course there's not really a lot of embellishment on the sketch because that's, for you to determine. So I just take a bunch of things from the puffies and the 12 by 12 sticker sheet. I've put them on a clear plastic piece of acetate that I like to put all my things on. And normally I would have that sitting to where you can see it and see what I have left to use. But since I'm doing a double layout, it is right in front of me at the bottom of the layout. And so everything I pulled, I used and then pulled more. So I didn't want to overdo it, but there's a lot of white space and I don't do white space very often. I considered adding more mixed media in some of the little spaces, but I changed my mind and decided that I can do it. White space is not my enemy. It's fine. So I'm just embellishing. I've got some word phrases that I'm putting down. One that said family, that's over there on the top left. One that says a balanced diet is a Christmas cookie in each hand, and that's in the bottom middle on the right layout. And above that is a picture of my niece, and she doesn't have any cookies in her hand, but she's standing behind the cookie, like the table that has a bunch of the goodies on it, and she's got her thumbs up. So I thought that was a cute place for that to go. And then I just put a bunch of embellishments in places that make sense to me. I tuck a lot of things like behind the some of the pictures or underneath some of the ribbon. I put some things on top of the ribbon, on top of the cut aparts, wherever it's going to fit and feels good to me. And I'm really happy with the way that this is going to turn out. Now, I will tell you one thing I do after I turn the camera off, other than journaling, because I do that. That small little jar in the middle on the right layout, it's on the left side of the little short row of pictures. I put a little peppermint jar there because there are some pictures on this layout that have peppermint crumbles on them. And so I thought that'd be cute, and I put that there, but it's so little compared to the pictures. I pulled that off after I quit recording, because there was one exactly like it in a bigger, like twice the size. So it doesn't look so minuscule. So I exchanged that. So if you are on Instagram or Facebook, you will see that, because I will post pictures of the final layout, and that'll have the journaling on it as well as that exchange. And since it was a little bent, I went ahead and just glued the smaller peppermint thing that I pulled off. It didn't tear much. There was a small tear behind it, but since I knew I was covering it back up with that bigger jar, it was no big deal. So I put that down and just tucked it under the cut apart with the rolling pin. So, but you won't see that now. You'll see it later. And then I have this little family of gingerbread people, and I want to put that down. The other thing I'm going to do is put some small little scattering pieces that are from this collection in the same direction as the mixed media. So I'm going to start up here in the top left, and I am putting down little drops of Nouveau Deluxe adhesive down because part of it's going on mixed media, plus I usually add glue anywho. So I put 3 up at the top, 3 down at the bottom on both layouts, and then I end up coming in and adding 3 in the middle as well, because the sketch has little stars kind of in that diagonal pattern. So I went ahead and and it's just like little gumdrops and little peppermint candies, and I think there's like a cookie cutter, and then one of them is a gingerbread man. So I just put those down and kind of fill those little spaces. They're not very big, they're kind of small, which is exactly what I wanted, henceforth why they are good scattering pieces. And I actually use quite a bit of these puffies, which makes me happy. I am definitely working on using up my stash. So I'm going to show you the sketch again, and this was really fun. And if you have a lot of pictures that you don't need to be 4x6 so that you can see all the details, this is a really great way of putting them down on a layout. And this does not look crowded and busy at all. It's 15 pictures. And I mean, the right side has 9 pictures all by itself, and that's a lot of pictures on one layout. So, and then I do go, and like I said, I journal on this one right here, and then on this one where it says recipes, I write the list of the goodies that we made that day to the best of my memory. And so I will have that in my final pictures. So I hope you will go down below, because all the people who are playing along with the Iron Crafters Challenge for March will be listed there. There may be a playlist, or it may be a list of people who are hopping along. And then there will be a playlist for 30 days of sketches. I cannot believe it is the last day. I hope you'll come back for my layout share, which will be a little later on today. Have a wonderful day, and happy scrapping.